guys, I am making another video to give some final thoughts on the two Dennerle products that I had spoken about in my last couple videos for anybody who's come across those videos before. So I was trying out the CO2, the nano CO2 kit that we are now offering with this 80 gram cylinder. So I'll talk about that first. My final thoughts on it are pretty good, actually. Once I got it dialed in and stopped adjusting it off every night and just let it go, it seemed to do really well. Adjusting it initially was a bit of a task for me, and using the nano flipper that it comes with is definitely different. I'm used to mist, CO2 mist, or an inline diffuser, so where I was looking for the CO2 to actually travel around the tank, it wasn't doing that. However, I was able to see with the CO2 indicator that the CO2 was getting saturated into the water, so that was fine. So more or less it was getting used to the idea of not being able to see the CO2 flow around the tank as I'm used to. One thing in the beginning was that I thought there was something wrong because the regulator itself, the nozzle, gives you, what did I do with it? It has a marking on it. I'm actually not sure what I did with it. It has a mark on it, so it indicates, it has a level indicator. If you twist it just a few notches, it looks like it would be a lot, but actually you have to twist it all the way around twice before there's any CO2 that comes out. Well, it took me about a day and a half to figure that out. And the first day I actually tried to, like a dummy, tried to take this off to see if there was an issue with the seal, if it was missing the washer that was inside of it. And so I lost some of the gas from this because you can't do that. So it didn't last as long probably for me as it would on a normal usage, because I made that mistake. So don't make that mistake, and it should last you. But I think I've been using it for about a little over 2 weeks, and it ran all night and all day because there is no electricity to this. None of the units that we will have in the United States will have any sort of powered solenoid on them. So there will be no option other than turning it off yourself. So you'll have to keep that in mind if you're using it. If you're using it, excuse me, with shrimp or fish in the tank, it's going to be something you'll think about what to do at night to make sure that the health of the water is safe for your inhabitants. So what I'm going to do now for me, because I do have a trip coming up and I'm going to be gone for almost 2 weeks, is I have an extra manifold for my CO2 regulator on my 10-pound tank, and I'm just going to hook it up to that. So as you can see, going through the beginning stages, I have algae. My tree, unfortunately, the mystery wood is not compatible to be sunk underwater. It's actually starting to decay, so I'll have to work on fixing that issue as well. So I may or may not put the intended shrimp into this tank. I'm about to do a water change on it, and that was another thing. I was kind of waiting to do a video so that I could show the canister filter. I did an early maintenance on it so that I could see what to expect and explain to you guys what to expect as well. So before I get into talking about that, I actually want to show you that previously I had put the canister where it was hanging on the back of the tank. Let me show you guys where I had it hanging on the back of the tank, and now I have it sitting behind the tank. So I added hoses to it, and I want you to see how that setup looks a little bit here before I take it apart. Now I don't have any water in it so that I could do the video and show one or two things or whatever. So it is worth noting that there are no valves. I don't know if I even mentioned that before, but there is no shutoff valve for this. So once you are wanting to do maintenance or need to do maintenance, you have to unplug it and then let some of the water drain out of the hoses or pipes so that you would not make a mess, or just prepare yourself for a little bit of extra work when it comes to doing maintenance. And thankfully it is a canister filter, so as long as you have small bioloads and don't have a lot of junk floating around your tank, you're not going to have to clean it out as often as maybe a hang on the back. So it's fairly easy to see that maintenance would be pretty much a breeze. I went ahead and took out the carbon. I left it in there originally because I was having cloudy water issues after about the second or third day, and normally I wouldn't run carbon, but I did, and it actually cleared it up pretty good. So it's definitely a good little carbon packet that's in there. One thing I did notice when I took this apart, for long-term maintenance needs, you have to actually unscrew this piece right here in order to get to the impeller to do any cleaning on the impeller. Not a big deal, just not as easily accessible as some of the other ones. But in the end, I think this is a really good canister filter for smaller tanks. I think that I will continue to use it. Even though I will have shrimp in the tank, I'll put the sponge over the intake so they will remain safe. And after I do some adjusting to the plants, or actually not the plants, but the tree, I added some stem plant in the back courtesy of Han. Thanks, Han. And my Buddha, courtesy of Kevin and Shauna Calhoun. Thank you so much for my gift. Anyway, so in the end, I loved both products. I didn't have any issues with the CO2 having to adjust anything once I got through the initial. It ran the same. There wasn't any delay, or I'm not even sure what I would consider to be an issue with CO2 Nano, since I've never used them before, not like this. But anyway, I think it's a good startup for sure. I'm going to leave the flipper on there and just run the hose and connect it to the manifold. And we'll see how I adjust to using a nano flipper instead of a ceramic diffuser, or a diffuser that gives me bubbles like I like this. So, all right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this information. I haven't seen too many questions about the products on any of the comments that I've had on my Facebook or on the YouTube. So that either means that no one's interested, or that I'm talking about all the things that everybody wants to know, and so I've covered everything. I hope that's the case, but if anyone has any additional questions, definitely post them and let me know, or contact me directly on Facebook. Of course, if you're not already friends with me on Facebook, just find me at Therese.Neal, which is Therese, Neal, Neal. And I do have a YouTube page. You can find me the same way, just very small. I don't do a lot with it other than these videos, so have low expectations for sure. So I will talk to you guys again. I think next I'm going to review or assemble the dosator and start using some of the fertilizers. I do have brand new soil in here. This is the Scapers soil. So it's fully loaded. We'll see how the nutrients are coming just out of the soil once I get through the new tank algae phase, which is where I'm at now. And then we'll see about the health of those areas that I have in here. So I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching.